You're listening to Crystal and Emily on Love Your Shelf, the best librarian podcast in the extensive and highly competitive field of librarian podcasts. Hello.
Hello.
We are back with Love Your Shelf, season
5.
episode 3.
Uh-huh.
And today we are officially entering, or tomorrow actually.
Yes.
Officially entering the Big Read.
Yep.
The NEA Big Read. And so we're going to talk about the book Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson. We've mentioned it a few times, over the last few months.
Has it just been a few?
Just a few months. So first of all, a little breakdown, I guess, of kind of how the whole process works in case people aren't familiar. Yeah. The National Endowment for the Arts has the program called the Big Read. It is annual, and it's a competitive grant, and we apply for it in every January, and or we have been for the past 5 years.
That's how we do it.
Yeah. And then we find out if we've gotten the award in the spring, and then in June they announce it officially. And right around that time, we get our copies of this book, and we request the number of copies that we want for our community. And the idea is that everybody, as many people as possible in the community, read the same book, so we have like the same basis of discussion. And then, a bunch of events take place with our partners and different places around the community and here at the library. And so October is the time of year that we have been doing our programs. And so tomorrow is September 30th, and that's our first big event.
Big Read event.
The Big Read event. And so the book, Nothing to See Here, and we're going to talk about that today. So a little disclaimer, there may be some spoilers if you haven't read it yet. If you have not and you don't have a copy of the book, we're giving away free copies still, so you can come pick up one at the library, or at many of the events that we're mentioning, we will also have copies. So, feel free to drop by one of those to get your copy.
I have some in my car. You can stop me on the street.
Exactly. We're schlepping books everywhere we go. So if you see one of us, get a book. But we're not going to talk about everything in the plot. I'm not going to, we're not going to give like a full synopsis or anything.
Right.
We just want to sort of introduce some of the themes, explain why we're doing some of the events that we're doing, and we want to talk about the author and his work and a couple of other books that he's written as well. So with no further ado, tomorrow, so September 30th, is an event at the Stone Fort Museum at the SFA campus. And they are doing, because we've got this like fiery theme, they're doing a Hatch green chili cooking contest. And if you're not familiar with Hatch green chilies, it's a particular type of chili that's grown in Hatch, New Mexico. They're extra specially delicious. And so Carolyn Spears at the Stone Fort Museum had these shipped in, especially.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And so she's distributing them to contestants who are going to create a dish in different categories. But the chilies are spicy.
Yes.
And so they, fit our theme. Also, the Stone Fort Museum at SFA is an amazing historic site. It is one of the earliest, and I'm not an expert on all of the details about it, so
I'll forgive you.
Okay.
But all you historians out there,
just
please be forgiven.
Don't
please,
listen.
yeah. Just turn it off now.
This is not for you. No, it's one of the oldest buildings from this very historic town, and which we all love, Nacogdoches, and they have an amazing exhibit there. They are always doing new cool stuff. They also have a plum tree, and so part of this event, they have made Hatch plum jelly, and they've got the culinary students from SFA are making Hatch ice cream.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I'm very excited about this.
So curious.
Yes. Plus Dutch oven cornbread to go with the jelly. Anyway, it's going to be amazing. They always put on a great event. So we're really, really excited about this. I get to be one of the cook-off judges, which I'm excited about and also a little
nervous.
A little worried.
We've all seen, what's the hot
ones?
Yeah, hot ones.
I'm going to bring a gallon of milk.
I was just about to say, we'll give you a pitcher of milk that you can just pour all over yourself if that needs to be the case.
I'm prepared. Anyway, so these are the kinds of things that we're going to have coming up over the next month. But also there are additional themes in
Yes, we didn't just stick with fire. We promised we branched out a little bit.
So let me give you like the quick, and we've discussed it before, but just a quick little synopsis.
Anyone who hasn't.
Yes, about the book. It's about two young women, Madison and Lillian, and they meet because they're roommates in a boarding school when they're in high school in the 80s. And so they become fast friends, and then there is a scandal. And so they are split up. Lillian no longer continues to go to that boarding school, and she goes back to her sort of lackluster life, and she becomes a cashier at, like just lots of different like odd job, the kind of things that she does.
Not a lot of direction. Feels kind of lost. Self-medication ensues.
Exactly.
That kind of behavior.
And Madison comes from a wealthy, connected family, so she ends up married to a senator and lives in a mansion. And Madison calls Lillian one day, 10 years after they'd met in high school, and asks her to come take care or help take care of her two 10-year-old twin stepchildren. And because she's married a man who's quite a bit older than her. She has her own young son, who is Timothy. How old is he? Like
he's
5
like 4,
or 6?
I think.
So he's very young, but still, she has her own child.
Yes.
And she's never met these twins. And she's has all of this trepidation about.
I was about to say, she's heard of them, though.
She's heard lots about them. And so Lillian agrees. She says, "Sure, I'll come help you do this." Seems like a great gig for a short period of time. And they've stayed
in
pen
touch.
pals.
Right.
They've been like sort of writing letters to each other, even though they haven't seen each other
over the years.
That whole decade. So Madison says, "Look, there's one catch.
Just a little thing.
Just one little thing. Whenever the children get upset, they catch on fire. Their skin is aflame." And so, Lillian is, I think she's curious.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think she's, like, that's what keeps her around. I think, like, the fact that she cares so much for Madison is part of it, but also she's kind of like, amazing. What else am I doing? I gotta see this.
Yeah. Let's bring it on.
Yeah.
What could be, how could it be so
What do I have to lose?
Right. And so hijinks ensue from that point. And of course, the children aren't hurt when this happens.
Right. That was my first question when you told me what this book was about.
Yes. And somebody else before, when I mentioned it, they said, if you stop at that point, people are like, this book is about burning children?
Yeah, no, it's not. No. They are not in pain, but they can catch other things on fire. And
that becomes the problem.
Yeah.
And they also have sort of been not completely neglected, but emotionally maybe neglected.
Not given the care that they need as children. I think that I don't think they've met an adult, including their mother, who's recently passed away, who knew what to do with them and knew how to do anything
what are
with
you gonna
it.
Yeah, so they've been living with their mother. They've been kind of estranged from the father. Like Lillian asks Madison, you haven't seen these? You've never met these kids that, that belong to your husband? And there's a reason.
Right.
But their mother has passed away, so that's why...
They need a caretaker,
they're going home to their father. So there are lots of different complications and themes, as you can imagine, that arise from this.
Well, and I was going to say another big thing too is because Madison's husband is a senator who has his eyes on the presidency, they want this kept super hush-hush. And so they've got this like very specially made fireproof guest house for Lillian and the kids to live in. But it's just like, it's kind of I quickly became annoyed with how like secretive they were trying to keep everything. And
and then it also, there is this issue of wealth because they pull up to this mansion, but it's also in the American South. And
right.
So it's also a plantation.
Right.
And so the pool house
right.
that they create for the kids there were slave quarters.
Right.
And so there's just a lot of things that kind of come bubbling to the surface.
Like, no one's talking about it, but it's a little off.
Yeah, but Lillian, who is, an outsider to this whole world, is commenting on all of these things that seem very obvious to her.
Right.
But that everybody else is kind of...
What do you mean?
Keeping hush-hush.
Yeah.
And
nothing to see here.
Exactly. So there's like, the concept of misdirection, and then the senator husband is not around very much because obviously, he's in Washington doing, whatever, probably horrible stuff, that he's doing. And so over the next month, part of what they were tasked with the Big Read is to have book discussions, obviously, specifically about the book. And so we have some themes that will kind of, I think, give you an idea about what's going to take place without giving too much plot detail. The first one that we're going to have is on social class and privilege. So obviously, just because of money can kind of pads Madison's life and her family's life in a way that Lillian doesn't have. Yeah. So, she talks about just scraping together enough change basically to, to buy groceries. And she goes from that to having basically a maid or a cook who will make anything that she wants. And she kind of struggles with,
what the relationship with the cook is and how you speak to her. But then on the other hand, she gets used to that real quick. I feel like I could too. I can relate.
She talks about how in one little section, this is not giving anything away. No. But she thinks, man, I would kill for a bacon sandwich. And then she tells the cook, and it's the best bacon sandwich she's ever had. And she's like, I think this seems like
it has its perks.
I'm not going to complain about this part. Then we're going to talk about looking at the book through the Generation X lens, because that's the era that this takes place. They meet in high school in the 80s. And then the remainder of the book takes place in the 90s. And so while that's not like a huge part of what they talk about, it definitely impacts it.
Absolutely.
And, just from like technology to like what's going on politically and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, it's not a huge plot element of it, but it colors, I think, like their relationships and stuff like that. The fact that they... don't have cell phones and they write each other letters for 10 years. That's a completely different way of communicating to someone, and it impacts it, I think, a lot. It makes you wonder if these characters who have stayed, like where they constantly are communicating, but still, it's when you're writing letters, that's a much slower, transport through time or whatever, than text messaging or video calls or whatever.
Right.
It makes you wonder, how would that have impacted their relationship?
Sure.
And so I'm curious about what older and younger generations are going to think about the book, based on like the setting.
Yeah, definitely.
How much that impacts it. Then another discussion that we're going to have is on the family that we choose. And so ultimately the book is about parenting in a sense, and about family, and it's not so much that, here's the family that you're born to. We all have that. And then, we bring in, or Madison brings in Lillian as this outsider, and, how does she find her way in that family? How does she become, because she's the one caring for the children, how does she become that caretaker, that parental figure? And is she doing a good job of it? Because she constantly asks herself that.
Right.
And so therefore it's, the reader is asked to kind of be aware of that.
Sure.
To be answering that question or asking that question all throughout. Like, is this the way that you're supposed to do it? Because what the kids have had in the past, at least it's implied in the book, is that they were kind of just ignored. They are very close to each other. Not only are they twins, but
they have this special ability. I don't know if the ability is the right word, but yeah.
Yeah, because it's set up that they cannot control this thing that they have. So, and as a metaphor, of course, that's what kids are like, right? They have big emotions and they can't control them.
Yeah,
so,
like the only difference is that I've never met a child that catches fire. Thankfully.
Yeah, in a building full of books, we
that
definitely...
That would be a problem.
Definitely don't want those kids to come.
There is a great scene that takes place in a library in the book. I really loved that part.
Yes.
It's the part where they say, nothing to see here.
Yes. I was very pleased, like you said.
Yeah.
That was good. And we love library mentions in books. So another of the discussions based on that is going to be mental health and wellness for children. And it's going to be like for parents to talk about that aspect of the book. So that'll be coming up soon too. Another discussion we're going to have is exploring female friendships. And so, there's a lot of, this particular friendship is very fraught.
Right.
Because they have a negative history.
Yeah.
They have only been pen pal friends for those 10 years. They haven't seen each other.
Right.
And, there's some other underlying things there too.
But yeah, like they were such fast friends and they obviously have great chemistry. They play basketball together and they're great, they're great on the court together. So it's hard to ignore, when you have any kind of chemistry with anyone, it's hard to ignore that. So.
Yeah. So we kind of want to delve into that as, as a theme of the book. And then we have a keynote panel toward the end of the month where we have invited professors from a variety of disciplines to give their take. And that's always a really great discussion.
Yeah.
We have people representing history, anthropology, and... something else that I can't recall just for the moment, but yes, a variety of perspectives on this that we maybe probably will not have touched on in prior discussions. So hopefully this will kind of cover a lot of ground, but there are also other things at play in the book as well. We haven't mentioned, at least this today, that it's funny.
It is. It is such, such a special sense of humor, I thought.
It's very subtle.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of, and it's all told from the perspective of Lillian.
Yes.
So we're seeing through her eyes, we're getting her take on things, and she's very snarky.
Hardened a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's, definitely takes things in, but even though she's kind of hardened herself, things, the situation, because she is dealing with kids, she's got to open herself somewhat to figure out how to take care of them.
Right.
And it's not just, kind of helping them try to learn to contain their flame, but also, to heal them from the sort of I mean, they haven't been abused necessarily,
No,
but
sort of
from the neglect.
They come from a broken home,
Yeah.
you know, in the, I don't know, the widest sense of that word, I guess. But Lillian also, you know, grew up in a pretty broken home, and I don't know. I kind of feel like in that way they that I think serves her well when she's dealing with these kids.
Can I say that one of the only issues that I have is that for some reason in my mind their names are very similar, and I always confuse them.
I get their characters confused.
Yeah.
Constantly. I don't know why.
Because to me, Lillian sounds like a rich girl.
It does.
And Madison somewhat, yeah.
Yeah.
Like a contemporary
I've
name,
met
but
Madisons. I don't think I know any Lil. Yeah, I don't know. I know what you mean though.
It's like an old name.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the one thing that's just I always have to stop and ask myself.
It's funny because I've done the same thing. Yeah, we're both kind of looking off for a moment before we say their names.
Yeah, I have it tattooed on my hand.
Oh, right. Yeah, we're really committed to Big Read, y'all.
Yes. Yeah, so I kind of want to touch on some of the events that we're going to have coming up and kind of explain how they're connected to the theme of the book or why we were inspired to do those.
Definitely.
And one of the first ones that we have after the Stone Fort event is Memories of Home, a memory jar project. And this was proposed by the Caddo Mounds State Historic Site, which is an amazing site just a few miles outside of Nacogdoches. And they do all kinds of things, but they focus specifically on the Caddo Nation. But the Memories of Home is basically we're going to be doing a project where we're doing like a physical creative, artistic sort of representation of things that make us think of home and family.
Yeah.
And they're doing a larger project with this, but they're just working with us on this one because it fits the theme of the book. You know, it's like what makes a family, what, good or ill,
what's
comes
your
from that, what's your experience.
Interpretation of home.
Yeah. So we're literally taking jars and filling them with whatever people want, decorating them. They could, put in keepsakes or just make it a representational thing or whatever they want.
Yeah.
And then we're also having a speaker come that day. So it should be, I think it's going to be a really great creative afternoon.
Yeah.
Things to do. And then after that, we have National Night Out, which is coming up next week. And we do this in partnership. This is our second year to do it with the police department and other city departments. And we have it here at the library. It's just where we meet outside. National Night Out, the bigger umbrella event, is like neighborhoods that have neighborhood watches or don't. That they get together to get to know your neighbors.
Yeah.
So that it promotes safety, but it also has the police department go to these places and let the citizens mingle with.
Yeah, it kind of gives them a chance to form relationships with their city officials and promotes safety and community and well-being.
Yes. And so another of the themes, obviously, from the book, kind of in a tongue-in-cheek way, is like that safety element because you got to be careful with these kids, taking them around. So it's maybe a little bit of a stretch, with the theme there, but we're going to have the fire department there, which, could be very handy if you have flammable children.
They'll be cooking hot dogs, so there's fire.
Yes.
There's another.
Yes. We're really stretching.
But we'll have free hot dogs and games and conversation and fun stuff. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Come on out.
And we're also going to do a Feel the Heat cooking series. That's pretty straightforward. We're going to do appetizers, main courses, sweet and heat, spicy sauces, things like that. So, nothing too deep there.
Right.
We're just kind of going off
just
on
fire.
Yeah, exactly. We are also showing films.
Yeah.
And here again, we're kind of getting funny with the theme. But we are going to show The Family Fang, which is based on another novel by Kevin Wilson. And it is also a quirky, funny, kind of weird.
Yes.
But still really intriguing look at a family dynamic. Mm-hmm. And it's the parents in the Family Fang are almost indescribable. They like to, I don't know, get into shenanigans.
Yeah,
they like to
that's
do stuff in public.
It's almost like
performance art.
Weird performance art. Yeah.
But they drag their kids along with them, and the kids really despise it, as you can imagine.
I mean,
kids are, yeah, exactly. And they'll kind of make them take part in it. Yeah. And then that's how it's set up. And then they grow up and they're adults themselves. And then how do they deal with their parents?
Right.
And that, Jason Bateman and Nicole
Kidman, strangely,
they're in it. And we're going to screen that film. So that should be a good night.
Mm-hmm.
A good discussion and see a film that went really under the radar.
I think so too.
Yeah. It's kind of it's not a indie or low budget film. I don't think it really made it, but we'll have that. And then of course, or not of course, maybe I don't know.
Are you about to mention the other movies?
Yes.
Of course, we're going to be showing Space Jam, starring Michael Jordan from 1996. Not the new one, sorry guys, but obviously we'd be showing Space Jam.
Right. Because of basketball. So Madison and Lillian are both, as you mentioned a minute ago, basketball stars.
Yes.
And so we, decided to do some basketball.
And not to mention Air Bud, the first. Those were my choices for children's movies.
Well, so that segues us to the fact that this book is categorized as adult fiction, and so we don't anticipate children reading it.
I have to find creative and sometimes hilarious ways to incorporate themes from the book in a child-friendly way.
Right. Because we want as a literacy program, we want the Big Read to be inclusive to everybody in the community.
Right.
So even if you don't read the book, don't like the book, or not old enough to read the book, you can still participate in all of these things.
And you won't, not know what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we have some things that are just fun. Now, you could also build a discussion around some of those things.
Sure.
Maybe not Air Bud, but...
I'm going to lead that one.
Yeah, that's what you're doing. That and Space Jam.
That's right.
But, yeah, so...
Dig deep, guys.
Start thinking about it right now.
How is Michael Jordan like Lillian?
And who's the Madison in this?
Right. Bugs Bunny. Really stretching here.
Obviously. So in addition to those, which are going to be super fun, we're going to have some, maybe some more serious things where we're going to have a mindfulness workshop with our partners, Whole Again Counseling and Wellness, as well as Kid Yoga. Both mindfulness practices and yoga practices are used in the book.
Yes.
To help the kids gain control. So
yes, to kind of keep from catching fire in the first place.
Right. We all need these things.
And
again, the metaphor is very apt. We all catch fire sometimes.
Yes. Whether
Some
you
of
can
us
see
more
it
than
or
others.
not. Yeah.
Right. So we'll also have some crafting type things. We're going to make candles. A little flame humor there. We're going to do soldering.
Yes.
Again, with some heat. And then we're going to do... Let's see. Oh, we're going to have a teen event on recreating 80s and 90s fashions.
Oh my gosh. I feel like adults will end up trying to sneak into that one.
I'm pretty sure that'll probably be mostly adults.
Yeah.
But we're going to give it a shot.
That are like, hello, I am a teen.
And it's you doing it. Let's see. Oh, we're going to do a pizza making class for teens as well because, of course, Lillian uses things that, kids love to get a little, wiggle room with these kids.
Yeah, you have to.
So she feeds them ice cream and pizza and, makes them happy about that stuff. Mm-hmm. It's not a long-term solution, all of you dietitians out there.
Right.
We're just talking about, keep the kids from spontaneously combusting.
Yeah, literally catching fire. Yes, exactly. Got to pick your battles, man.
Right. And then we'll do 80s trivia at the brewery with Lone Star Trivia. Mm-hmm. And then there's also going to be, we have a really great full moon concert series that downtown does for Nacogdoches. And they've been bringing in great bands and then having like a really big production. And so I asked them, hey, can we do like a 90s theme for one during October? And they did it.
They said yes.
So we've got, I think 4 different
it's over the
90s cover bands for October. So, it's over Friday and Saturday night.
Yeah.
So we're super excited about that. And we'll be out there too.
You can pick up a copy of the book. My sister is getting married that weekend, and I love her so much. Really looking forward to the wedding, but super bummed I'm missing the 90s cover band.
Right?
Love you, Callie. Anyway.
So she knows that she is extremely important too. But anyway, so those are some of the things that we're doing for the month, along with our, I guess our reasoning behind it.
Oh, yeah.
How we came up with these ideas.
Yeah.
And so they're,
We like to make it a mix of serious and serious. Wait, serious and sweet. Let's say that.
Yeah. And silly.
Yeah.
Maybe.
The 3 S's.
Yeah. And then you're also...
Yes. So we're, I'm really excited about this one. We have partnered with the librarian at Carpenter Elementary and Brooks Quinn Jones Elementary. They've spoken to some of their English teachers, and they have a couple of 4th grade classes that are going to be a part of a pen pal project. So some of the kids from each school will exchange letters with each other throughout the month. And then in November, we're going to host a reception at the library where they can come and meet their pen pal. And I don't know. I hope I'm not getting too carried away with how adorable how I'm picturing this to be.
Oh, undoubtedly.
I'm picturing like slow motion running to each other and like
lifelong friendships.
Yes.
That they're going to continue for at least a decade.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, until they grow up and have their own fire children that they have to deal with.
Yeah. But they'll have somebody they can call on.
That's right. Their pen pal will be there. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I think I think that'll be really cool.
Yes, for sure.
These kids don't know how to write letters. Do they? I don't know. Do they know what letters are? I'm just kidding.
That's, not an unreasonable question.
Right. But anyway, that'll be cool.
It'll be cool. Yeah, I definitely I loved writing letters.
Yes.
Even when I was, up until after I was out of college, that was something that I did with my family and friends and stuff like that. And I still have all of those somewhere.
It's so wonderful. And it's not, you can, you can keep
email.
emails, I guess, but what are you going to do? Print them out and clutch them to your chest longingly?
Yes, yeah. In fact, there are I have some emails that were sent to me from family and friends that were sent to my college email address. So I did print them out. And
at that point, it was we don't know where this is heading.
Exactly.
I don't know if I'll have this forever. Well, and I guess you don't.
You don't.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't. I was I want to put this with my other ones.
With my letters. Yeah. Oh my gosh, can you imagine if we printed all of our emails?
That's literally terrifying.
I know, it scares me.
Yeah. So we are super excited about everything that's coming up.
Yeah.
Can't wait to have the discussions. And I just started a book club at the Fredonia Brewery, and we're going to be talking about this book for the first meeting, which is October the 19th. But then we're going to do all kinds of fun stuff too, so I'll be talking about that probably the next couple of times that we podcast, because I'm super intrigued. We just recently met, and I think only one of the suggestions for a future read had I even heard of. Which,
cool. And you,
strange.
I was about to say.
I mean, librarians,
Were you trying to play it cool though? Were you like, oh yeah, that's I know that one.
No, I didn't say anything.
Okay, nice.
That's how I play.
Better. Yeah, that's better.
Yeah. I don't want to lie.
Better than my way. Yeah.
I get caught in it. They kick me out of the book club.
Who's your favorite character?
I'm a pariah. Yeah. I can't handle that. So.
No.
But yes, so
that's cool.
Mm-hmm. And I maybe will invite some of them to come be on the podcast.
Yeah.
They don't know this yet.
We haven't had a guest in a while.
No.
Could be fun.
I know.
Stay tuned.
Exactly. So hopefully everybody out there reads this book, whether you're in Nacogdoches or not, because I know we have an international audience.
That's
right. But it's definitely not just something for this community.
Right.
In fact, all of the Big Read books, there's a list this year of 15, because they give us that list to choose from, and they're all great. Yeah. So check them out.
Yeah.
Come get your free copy of this one, and we'll be talking about it at least for the next month. I mean, not in this depth. Next time on the podcast, we'll talk about other books.
Yes.
Don't be afraid.
Yeah. I'm done with this.
Yeah, exactly. How many hours are we going to have to look at? But, so we'll see you. I want to always say see you.
You will hear us next time, but we hope to see you out at our Big Read events.
This is why you should close out the podcast.
Not every time. That's why we do it together, because one of us will pick up.
Right. What she said. And bye. Have a good day.
Bye, guys.